Okay, this is a great question and another example of where like you have something that looks impossible, but with a few simple steps, it suddenly becomes solvable. And if you've done enough circle questions by now, you know that you have to use the radius, okay? I'm not going to use it there or there, that's already drawn in. I'm not going to draw it randomly. I'm going to connect it to the P. That is going to be absolutely critical in this question. We're told that we've got a square, center S, drawn from T to R. A point P on this arc is 1 unit from TU, that's been labeled, and 8 units from RU. Okay, and that's been labeled as well. What is the length of the side of the square RSTU? Right, now what we can do is we can label the side of the square. Should I call it R or X? I don't know. R for radius, but X because that tends to be what we try and solve. So I'm going to call it X. Now immediately, this is therefore also X. And the hard bit then is like still realizing how you can use this to get you there. And you've got to somehow use the rectangle. But rather than use the idea of the rectangle over here, we can in fact use the consequences of it over here. That is the key bit to this question because I've constructed a right angled triangle. Now the whole thing was x, remember, which means that this length is going to be x minus 1 because it's the whole of x minus this bit of the rectangle. And I can do similar over here. The whole length is x. This is 8, which means that this length is x minus 8. And we've got a right angled triangle with 3 lengths in. We're on our way. We can use Pythagoras' theorem. It must be that x minus 1 squared plus x minus 8 squared is equal to x squared. Expand the brackets. This is a double bracket, so it's going to be x squared minus 2x plus 1. Be really careful. Okay, if it helps, write it. Whenever you get one like this, write it as a double bracket, and then you'll remember to include all 4 terms. We get a minus x and a minus x, which becomes minus 2x, hence it becomes these 3 terms. Similar over here, x squared minus 16x plus 64, and that is equal to x squared. Sorry, I couldn't quite fit it in. I'm going to simplify this. 2x squared minus 18x plus 65 is equal to x squared. Solving a quadratic, you always try and set it equal to 0. So x squared minus 18x plus 65 is equal to 0. The 65 threw me off for a minute because the prime factors of 65 are 13 and 5. Actually, that makes life easier because it has to be 13 and 5, or of course 1 and 65. But no, these two will work. If I make it minus and minus, we're sorted. X is equal to 5 or 13. The thing is, it must be that x is bigger than 8 because we managed to fit this rectangle in to this length. So I can reject the 5. I mean, I know it's not in the solutions, but I'm just explaining why it's not in the solutions. Therefore, the answer is E.